So someone just asked me to make a video on how to transmute negative energy into, something positive, what to do with your negative thoughts, things like that. So I thought I would talk about in this video because I might have a different perspective than you may have heard before on this topic. And this is kind of a interesting way I'm going to talk about it, but the way that I see it is that you have this constant river of things flowing through your mind, right? So there's constantly every day you got positive thoughts, you got negative thoughts, you got everything in between, and they're all over the place. Like, they just keep flowing through your head. And so those thoughts, technically, you've been told before that they aren't you. A lot of them aren't yours. And the ones that are yours are technically just like the ones that you choose to be yours. Like, the thoughts that you decide are you become you ultimately because you choose them and you eventually let them sort of like become part of you. And so the thing with that, though, is that sometimes we'll answer calls that we don't want to answer, or ones that we don't mean to answer because we get scared, or because we sort of latch onto something not meaning to. It's just, it causes some sort of feeling in us and we start to overthink it, and the more we overthink it, the more we start to identify with it, and then we eventually like become the thought itself. Like, the thought becomes part of us. It's kind of like we get stuck with it, like it sticks to us or something. I think of it like a sticky thought. Sometimes thoughts get sticky. The more the emotion that you give it, the more energy you give it, the more it starts to kind of become sticky with you. And so if that happens to you and you have like these negative thoughts that keep looping and they keep coming back to you, it's kind of because that's what happened. It's sort of like you and the thought have kind of like become one now, rather than you and the thought being two separate things and having it just like flow through you. So to allow that thought to then flow through you again and to release it, like the way that I do it, honestly, is I just like, I will talk it out. I will like speak the thought out. I will release the thought. Like, when I'm saying it out loud, though, when you release the thought, when you want to release something negative, what you want to do is like release it with presence. So let it come up, let it speak through you. And as it's speaking through you, know that like it is literally like, feel it as like something else that is speaking through you. Like, it is releasing itself. It is needing to talk to you. Basically, you're acting like this platform for this thought to speak, because all this thought form wants is to speak something. It just wants to be heard. Once it's heard, it actually will usually dissolve. The only thing it wants is to be heard without judgment, because most people whose minds it passes through will judge it and won't want it to be there, and then it will just keep getting stuck. So this thought, all it wants is to return home. It wants to return to being part of the energy field that is all. Like, it wants to return to source again as just energy, as clean energy again. But to do that, it needs to literally be seen by someone. And so if no one will see it, it's kind of like, it's a little bit sad. I like to think of it as like, it's a little sad, like these thoughts floating around who no one will give it a home because they don't trust it, because it's this negative thought and nobody wants to be attached with a negative thought, right? But once again, if you answer the call, or you bring it up, if it's something that's already attached to you, and you bring it up and you let it speak without judgment, then it will flow through you. I promise it will flow through you. And the magical part about this is that if you can release negative thoughts, what people talk about is this transmutation of energy that happens. And it's something really amazing is that like that energy will then return to you, like, and become one with you again. So that energy is now your free energy to use in whatever way you want to use it. It's like gaining more fuel, gaining more traction in the world. You're gaining a bigger level of presence in the world when you do this. Like, you sort of like build your spiritual presence underneath by taking calls. Like, I know this sounds super strange, but the more calls that you pick up and you answer and you let them flow through you, like the more energy that returns to you. Because these are thought forms that just want to be seen by someone. And you're doing this also for others in the collective. So others who are sending out these thoughts into the collective, like you're the one that's then taking that thought form and you are allowing it to be free again. You're allowing it to return to free energy once again. And so you keep doing it and you keep doing that. You sort of like build a network underground of yourself. And I like to see it like it's like roots that you're growing. So if you help a thought form that came from, let's say, like another person or something, it's almost like that person is now connected with you in some sort of way. It's like you now have more of an impact on the world. Like, your voice has a bigger impact. Like, this is what I notice with how I see reality, is that like now that I have had, like, I had one point in my life where I felt like I was a therapist. Like, I felt like I was speaking things that had nothing to do with me. I was just talking stuff out all the time, and I was like, I have no idea where this thought came from or anything. But it was like I was picking up on every call or something at one point in my life. But because of that, I gained so much energy. Like, now my body is like on fire all the time. Like, I have so much energy to, it's almost like spend. Like, then you have, it's almost like a currency, and now you can spend that energy on things that are helpful for you. You transform that negative thing into now something positive. So now it's sort of like that thought form that once believed its own thing is now transformed and wants to help you. It's like it wants to give to you in return after you've helped it. So think of negative thoughts once again. I like to think of them as like lost, like little lost beings that just like need a home. And so if you can give it a place to rest, if you can allow it to move through you, that's when it returns you as energy. And also look at it like in the Bible. Again, I'm not a religious person. I would just have to say this in my videos. I just reference the Bible sometimes like I do anything else. But there's one part in the Bible where it talks about, you know, like Jesus saying like, did you come to visit me in prison? Like, did you give me water when I was thirsty or food when I was hungry, stuff like that? Because oftentimes, like, there's these thought forms that can sometimes be, like, I don't know how to put this, but it's almost like they're cloaked in these negative thoughts. It's almost like they've had this build up around them. Kind of think of it like in the movie Soul, if you've seen it before. There's this character where he gets upset and starts repeating like the same thing over and over and over until like there's like this almost like a shell around him of like he starts to kind of look like a monster because he's like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough or something like that. And it starts to build the shell around him. But before that, he was something else inside of it. And it's sort of like these are these thought forms. Sometimes thought forms can pick up so much baggage from like everyone's mind who it's went through that like they become something that they weren't originally. So if you kind of like sit with a thought and start to peel back the layers and like let yourself talk something out, you'll see that like underneath all that fear, underneath all that doubt and that hate and anger, for example, some of them will be very angry. Some thought forms you'll have that are so angry and you're yelling and whatever. But if you keep letting them express, eventually you'll find that underneath all that, there is something that just wanted to be loved. And there was an original thought, or there was an original purpose for that thought form, like before it became something negative. So underneath everything often is love at the source of it. At the source of it, it's just something that wants to be seen and loved. And so this is also where I got a lot of my downloads from, was by taking on all these negative thoughts, because sometimes it's the things you least expect that have something to teach you or show you. And again, I said this in another video, everyone has something to teach you. So don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a thought by its cover. Because sometimes if you take the time to sit with your negative thoughts, to express them, and again, letting them just be there for expression, like you're just expressing it. It's not like you're identifying with it. You're just releasing it. You're letting it talk through you. And by doing this, it often will give you something back in return. Like, you will feel better afterwards, or you will all of a sudden have some sort of new understanding afterwards. Just, this is the best way I can put it. So you don't need to be so afraid of these negative thoughts, because often, again, there is no real negative thoughts. It's just thought forms that just didn't have their time to be able to be seen and expressed. And so that's the best way that I can talk about transmutation of energy and moving things through you. And you can do it in other ways too. Like, you can journal if that feels right to you. For me, I just like speaking things out loud. I always felt that worked best for me. You can talk to ChatGPT if you like that. But I always say, like, after releasing negative stuff, the thing you want to do is don't try to fix it. Do not try to fix the negative stuff. Let it be expressed and then leave it there. Leave it. Go do something else after, or go to bed, or just go rest after, whatever. Leave space after, though, because then you leave space for something new to return after that's been expressed. It's almost like you're like creating space by clearing that out, and then like something new takes its place, or like the resolved version of that being takes its place, kind of thing. So you don't need to fix anything about any of these negative thoughts. You just need to let them talk without judgment. That's it. That's all you have to do. There's no fixing needed. And ultimately then, like most people say, like, you can let your thoughts flow through you and not identify with them. Like, you can just observe them. You don't need to like answer the call. So called, like I was saying before, you don't need to answer every single call. It's not a necessary thing you have to do. It's just something that I feel like I always learn from. Like I learn from every sort of call that I answer. So I feel like this is where I differ from like traditional spiritual teachers, because I still think it's important to kind of like go within your mind and be able to like sit with these thoughts sometimes and stuff like that as well. And like I feel like you learn from every different pair of eyes as well, because that's what you're doing, is you're taking on a different perspective for a moment. So even if it's a really dark one, it's kind of like now you know what that thought form or that person, whoever, wherever it came from, you just like, you see through a different lens that you wouldn't have seen through in your everyday life. And so it's kind of like then you empathize more with other people every time, because you've seen like these darker views of reality that you wouldn't have seen any other way. And this is also where it's talked about in Pocahontas, where she says, you know, you think the only people who are people are the people who look and talk like you, or something like that. And then she says something about if you walk in the footsteps of another person, like you'll learn things that you never knew. And like that is the whole idea of this, is that every single time you answer one of those calls in your mind, you're looking through a different pair of eyes, you're looking through a different lens. And that's why I say in my videos all the time that like I feel like I've lived 1,000 million lifetimes at this point, because I've gone through such dark lenses of reality, and I know when they aren't me, but I just like some of the things that have come through me like have been so horrible and dark, and I'm like, it just makes me like empathize so strongly with the rest of the world, and that's really powerful. So anyways, yeah, long story short, you don't have to identify with every thought. If you do express something, you still don't identify with it, just release it. Just think of it as you're allowing this thing to express through you. You're allowing it to move through you so that it can finally return home once again. It can return to source again and become just energy once more. And yeah, that's how you transmute energy. So I hope this is helpful.